Ready? The Board of Zoning Appeal meeting is called to order. Please turn off any cell phones. Mr. Schwartz, you want to call the roll?
That would be Schultz.
Schultz,
Close enough.
hey, you guys can't sit next to me.
Mr. Schwartz.
Present.
Ms. Hughes.
Present.
Mr. Luger.
Here.
New guy.
Present.
Anthony.
Mr. Ramacone.
Ramaca. Gotta get you down here. Okay. Present.
Present.
Okay. All right, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business is approval of last meeting's minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 21st, 2023.
I'll second that.
All right.
Mr. Schwartz.
Yes.
Mr. Schultz. Yes. Ms. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Lugers.
Yes.
You weren't here to vote.
Okay. They're approved. All right. Next is swearing in of anybody who's going to testify. Anybody who's going to speak at the microphone has to be sworn in. Raise your right hand. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. I do. Okay. So we don't have any old business?
We do not.
So we're straight to new business. Okay. We're going to have a variance. Let me explain briefly. A variance is an official permit to do something normally forbidden by regulations. It's purposely normally forbidden by zoning law or building code. No variance can be granted that is greater than the minimum necessary to relieve the hardship or practical difficulty demonstrated by the applicant. The request for a variance must satisfy the following standards. This is a unique physical condition. It's not self-created. It would not deny substantial rights. It's not a special privilege, and it must be in harmony with the township resolutions. So anyway, that's what we need to judge a variance by. Let's start on the new case.
Very good. Thanks, Mr. Chair. It's case SYCB 230007. It's a request for a rear setback variance. The applicant's Mr. Stephen and Ashley Young. Subject property is 8241 Pine Cove Lane. The proposed use is in addition to a single family home. The zoning is a single family residential, and it's a reverse pie-shaped lot. The area of the lot is 0.486 acres. The applicant seeks to add a 575 square foot one-story addition to the single-family home at the subject property, 8241 Pine Cove. The variance is for a rear yard setback on a non-corner lot. Under the A zoning standards, the required rear yard setback is at least 35 feet. Because the proposal shows a rear setback at 24 feet and 11-foot variance is requested. The applicable code, the A district setbacks for the front, it's 50, that's met. For the rear, it's 35 feet, and for the side yard, it's 15. For some analysis, the addition, which will serve as a mother-in-law suite, passes the eye test as there is no separate front door, no separate utilities, and there will be a free flow of movement from the existing house to the addition. In other words, this addition is not creating a family, which is not permitted in this district. The proposed addition's massing is in proportion to the scale of the existing house. As noted in section 21-6 of the zoning resolution, staff finds that all variances are all standards are sufficiently met. Staff does not view the proposed site arrangement of the addition requiring a variance to be substantial. The left side yard setback is met. To buffer the addition and compensate for the rear yard setback variance, applicants propose 4 green giant arborvitaes to buffer the corner of the house or the new proposed addition. In determining the rear, front, and side yard locations from the zoning resolution, this rendering is kind of the guiding rendering on which we reviewed the matter. Although the lot is a reverse pie shaped lot, the same concepts apply as if it were a traditional rectangular shaped lot. So the front of the house, the front line, anything to the north of this front line here is front yard. Anything to the south of this rear line is rear yard. And in between those two planes is side yard. The rendering, so this rendering, which is from the zoning resolution, is derived from the code's definitions of what a front, rear, and side yard is. Because the subject property is reverse pie shaped lot due to the side arrangement of the house, the eastern or left property line serves as both. You could look at it as is it the left side yard lot? Yes, but it's also a rear lot, by review of this line here. So it's kind of it's an irregular lot. Unfortunately, early on in the process, staff did review this and provided feedback to the applicant. They came through for permit, and then when I had the final review, and I didn't see this when it was provided as guidance, staff originally called this area as a side yard, but in review of the code, it's like, no, it's a rear yard. We'll have to meet rear yard setback, which brings us here tonight. And we did apologize to the applicant. Finally, one with the standards, applicants are not denied substantial rights, nor are being granted a special privilege, nor will government services be negatively affected because of the variance request. In the context of the rear setback and the applicant's plan to buffer the addition with plant material, the proposal is in harmony with the zoning resolution. The proposed variance would not be detrimental to the essential character of the community, nor would an adjoining property owner suffer substantial detriment. For a staff recommendation, staff recommends approval of the 11-foot rear yard setback variance with the following conditions. I'm going to add one more condition. As proposed, 4 green giant arborvitae shall be planted in the location represented in the submission documents. At planting, trees shall be at least 6 to 8 feet in height. And then for one other condition, which would be a benefit to the applicant, there's a validity period of 6 months. Frankly, I think this code was written in 2000. In 2000, there weren't supply chain issues. There weren't other issues. So my recommendation would be to have a validity period of at least a year to give him time, if 6 months from now in the spring and summer, it'll just give him some more buffer. So up that validity period, another 6 months to give him the time to start construction if it's in the springtime. With that, are there any questions? And I would just note here, here's just the aerial, took this picture here. It's just looking down the property line. So I think there's 2 smaller trees here, but the addition will come out basically here. For one other bit of commentary, if this house were oriented more so that this side property line was more parallel with this, we probably wouldn't be here tonight. It would be a slam dunk. It's left side yard setback, but because of the orientation of the house, you have that in the context of the shape of this lot. The right thing to do is to come, for a variance. With that, are there any questions?
Does the board have any questions of our staff? Okay, then I'm gonna move it on. Is the applicant here? Okay, do you want to say anything?
That's a good point. I mean, that's be accurate. Yes, I just want to say,
I need name.
oh, sorry. My name's Stephen Young. I'm
Okay,
one of the owners of the property.
okay.
We've lived there for 17 years. I don't know if you need any other information about us or,
Nope, that's good enough.
okay. I apologize if I need to. I sent a huge amount of documentation thinking I needed to defend what we're trying to do here. The goal is to add a mother-in-law suite, an in-law suite on the ground floor to bring my wife's mother. Excuse me. I intended to say a lot, I'll be honest, because I was so frustrated by how this process went. My wife and I came in April, and we got advice from the board that said, as long as you meet the 15-foot setback, you're fine. The architect came in July with the same question and got the same answer. Then we came in October with the completed drawings and got a different answer. And that, as you can imagine, was very frustrating, not only because it happened, but because it delayed us. We don't have a zoning permit. We can't get building permits. It delayed us 2 months. And it's, I won't say urgent, but it's important to get her here as soon as we can. So we were hoping to get this project underway. Like I said, I'm not gonna, if you have any questions for me, that's fine. I'm not gonna go on and on about how frustrated we are with this process. But I will say one thing, I don't understand why this property's rear line was interpreted the way it was. It to me could have been interpreted several other ways, which would have eliminated this as an issue. But I don't have that clout in this venue, so I'll end there. Any questions for me?
Okay, does anybody have any questions of the applicant? No questions. Anybody else here who wants from the public that wishes to speak? Give us your name and address.
My name is Richard Hotz. I live at 8219 Pine Cove. And by the way, it's Pine Cove Court, not Pine Cove Lane.
I apologize.
Okay. I just want to say that I own the house on the opposite side, 8219. I also own the vacant field behind the Young's property. And for what it's worth, I'm okay with granting this variance.
Okay. It's good to hear. It's important to us. Anybody else want to speak? You dropped your phone there.
My name is Bob Steiner. I've lived on Pine Cove Court for 37 years. And I'm just here to support Mr. Young and his request. I have no objections. And I think it will be a very welcome addition to the subdivision.
Okay, thank you. Your input is important to us. Anybody else wish to speak? Yes, sir. Back up and
I spoke to both of my neighbors and every other homeowner on the street. No one had an objection. Mrs. Porter, the neighbor next door, the neighbor closest to the, and this was done without my knowledge. I found out about it today. She brought this letter to you last week saying that, and I assume you have a copy of it.
Well, yes, you beat me to it. The next thing I was going to say, I was going to bring up these 2 pieces of correspondence.
Okay, so everyone on the street has said had the same answer as my 2 neighbors.
So just for the record, it was Miss Betty C. Porter, and then there was another correspondence from a Joseph Melia. Anyway.
okay, they're all in support of it.
Yes.
Okay.
May I just show something with the picture?
Yeah,
Sure.
This is Mrs. Porter's house. This is my house, and the Amelia's are directly across the street.
Okay.
So as my recommendation was in support of it, it sounds like the staff and the members of the public are in agreement.
Okay, we're gonna close. Zane, okay, let's hear it. Get up there and let's hear it. This thing's recorded.
Vegetation,
Say again.
the requirement for vegetation, is that a requirement? Or is that something to be considered? And that is, we have trees along the line between our house and Mrs. Porter's house today. And this additional requirement was for additional evergreen trees there. We're not sure how we feel about that. So that's why I asked, I'd like your feedback on whether or not that is a requirement for the granting of this variance, or if it's something that we need to consider.
It's certainly not something that's required. It's a standard comment I throw in. As you know, if the goal is to get these variances approved, which I try to, work with residents, it's, it shows an effort, but if all the neighbors are for it and they don't seem to care if there's more vegetation, I would be fine if that wasn't a condition.
Okay, thank
you. It was geared to try to get it approved, but.
Right.
Question for staff. If this were considered a rear yard, or I'm sorry, if this were considered a side yard and they still needed a variance, would landscaping be required by code?
No,
Okay.
it would be a variance
I
where,
understand.
Okay, we're gonna close it off and now the board will debate this. I have no problems with it. And I will just, the vegetation, leave it up to him. What do you think? Somebody make a motion.
so the condition there would be no condition for vegetation, but I would recommend the validity period to be extended to a year just to give him runway.
What would the validity period be with regard to if there's no vegetation requirement?
No. So if he doesn't apply for a zoning certificate within 6 months, he wouldn't, under the code now, we wouldn't be able to issue it. He'd have to come back. But if we move it to a year, he would have basically a year to apply for a zoning certificate.
I see. So it's not with respect to condition.
No. Oh. Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
I recommend that the 11-foot rear yard setback variance. That's what we're, rear yard setbacks 35 feet to 24 feet, with the condition of the validity period being changed to 12 months.
Got a second.
So we'll vote. Any discussion first? Okay, let's have a vote.
Mr. Schwartz,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz, yes. Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Lugers,
Yes.
Mr. Ramachan,
Yes.
All right. We're finished. If you want to go, you're welcome to leave.
I have one other question.
Yep.
Based on what I just heard. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And that is, I have to reapply for a variance in 30 days? Is that how it works?
No. So you would apply for a zoning certificate to build the
Oh, sorry,
structure.
I said that wrong. I have to reapply because I brought in the application, paid the fee at the beginning of October for the zoning certificate. And I believe you have the drawings that
Yeah.
Todd provided.
So
I need to do something else.
So now we'll issue it now that, now this variance has been granted, we can issue that and then
Okay.
you'll go to the building department.
Yes,
and-
I know the rest. I was concerned about if I needed to reapply or something like that.
I don't think so. I can check back with John if what's going on with that, but we can get this done tomorrow, get it issued, and then on your way to the building department.
Great.
So
I have the plans and application.
we can roll on it tomorrow.
You're gonna need to sign tonight. You're gonna do it that day, so you're gonna need to.
So we have a resolution that will be born out of this that memorializes this, but there's gonna be no opposition. I have no concern that we can't issue the
Okay,
certificate tomorrow.
okay, no problem. All right, what's next? Any miscellaneous?
So the next meeting is canceled. There's no cases.
Okay,
For the January meeting with the holiday, would the Monday, January 29th work for the board?
Okay, so you're saying the January meeting would be,
Is it on Martin Luther King?
That would be, I think, the day that bumps it. And so the question is, have it later that day or bump it to a different week. There's incidentally, there's 5 Mondays in January, so we have our kind of pick, so
so you're saying to go to the 22nd,
29th.
29th. It's fine with me.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Great. If we have a
Don't
meeting,
normally do this,
I just
Yeah,
try to
we're-
get to the end of the year.
if we have a meeting that day with a case, I'll let you guys know. So if we're gonna have a January meeting, it'll be on January 20th. With that,
Anything else?
I do not have anything else to report.
All right, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Vote.
Mr. Schwartz,
Yes.
Mr. Schultz, yes. Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Lugers.
Yes.
Mr. Ramacon.
Yes.
Okay, we're finished. Sorry, George.
I apologize. I'm so sorry, but it looks
We
like you
took
guys
your
went
seat.
so fast without me.